So when you go to the polls, you'll select either a Republican, Democrat, or a nonpartisan ballot. But before you can even vote on most of the names that you'll see on the ballot, you'll have to answer some long, wordy questions.
That's right. So Christy Diaz is breaking down these questions, talking about what they are and why they're even on the ballot.
Georgia's state political parties are allowed to put advisory questions on the ballot to survey its voter base. We are one of the few states allowed to do this. And even though these questions are on the ballot, you're not really voting for anything at all. Dr. David Schock, political science professor at KSU, says for the May primary, think of your ballot in 3 parts. First, you'll vote for the candidates in your political party. Second, you'll answer several advisory questions. Third, you'll vote for the nonpartisan races, mainly judicial candidates. It's the second part, those questions, that sometimes throws voters off.
They have no public policy impact. But with that said, they have some functions.
Dr. Schock says many times it's a strategy to drive up turnout in an election that typically has pretty low numbers.
Many of the questions are what we would call red meat sort of questions that excite voters of a particular party.
The questions are non-binding, meaning it doesn't result in any kind of law. It's more of a survey to find out how much support the party has on that particular issue. This is a sample ballot out of Fulton County. On the Democratic ballot, there are 8 questions. On the Republican ballot, there are 19. The questions are worded in a way that makes it very hard to vote against.
They're written in leading sorts of ways to elicit a certain response.
For example, question 8 on the Republican ballot asks if you believe unelected, unaccountable international bureaucrats should regulate your health care. This question's actually about the World Health Organization. On the Democratic ballot, question 7 asks if all forms of slavery and involuntary servitude should be prohibited. This question is about the use of prison labor.
It'd be very hard to say no to that, no matter what you believe.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to say no. I mean, you have to go in knowing that these questions are worded by party officials to elicit a desired response.
There's only one question Dr. Schock thinks may have some legs and could lead to a push for change in the legislature. It's a question on the Republican ballot about whether it should be a closed primary, meaning only registered Republicans could vote in it. You can read more about that in this story on 11alive.com. In Atlanta, Christy Diaz, 11 Alive News.
And it's important to reiterate that these questions are non-binding, meaning that no legal laws will be made after you vote from these questions. But you can look at these questions ahead of time. The easiest way is to Google My Voter Page Georgia. It takes you to the Secretary of State's website. You put in your name, your county, your date of birth, and then you can pull up all of the sample ballots from there.